Um, how difficult is it for you? I've just read a litany of the pressure you are under and the very real bullets that have been fired your way. Tell me why you're taking this risk.
Thank you very much for having me, Christian. And pardon me if I look so spaced. I've just been forced out of 3 districts tonight, where the police officers are not allowing me to sleep in those districts. Right now, I'm in Arua, and the only hotel that was willing to take me for the night is a hotel where my driver was shot dead, and I also survived death on the 13th of August in 2018. But I'm happy to be here. I am taking this risk because it is worth taking, because nobody else is going to do it other than we ourselves. And in any case, not taking the risk is even taking a bigger risk, because nobody is safe. Those that stay home and keep silent about the enslavement, and we who speak out. That is why I dare to represent my people in this struggle.
So, I said many people weren't even born when the president first came to power. In fact, 80% of the Ugandan people are under the age of 35, which is how long Museveni has been in power. But what is it that makes you believe that somebody who's held on to power for this number of years is ripe for, for a challenge and potentially could be defeated by somebody such as yourself?
Well, I was also 4 years when President Museveni took charge of our country. But like you mentioned it, the biggest part of our population is under the age of 35. Precisely over 80% of our population is my age and below. These are the disconnected young people, the unemployed, the excluded, the have-nots. Our country has been divided into the haves and have-nots. So these are the masses looking and searching for a difference, searching for better, searching for change, but most importantly, wanting to be free in their country, wanting their voice to be heard. That is the constituency that I am representing. What gives me confidence that we can overwhelm the dictatorship is the history, the recent history in Africa. The young people did it in the Gambia. The young people did it in the Sudan. The young people have done it all through history. That is why I believe that if we stick by the law, if we come out massively and vote, we can be able to overwhelm the dictatorship of President Museveni, and for the first time in our life, also have a taste of true freedom.
So, look, I've interviewed the president several times. The last time was a few years ago, admittedly. But he insisted to me that the opposition is free to operate in his country. This is a little bit of what he said.
Opposition in Uganda competes on a leveled playing field. There is no opposition which we stifle, but otherwise we never restrain the opposition at all.
So, level playing field, no restraint. Bobi Wine, tell me, apart from the very real danger, which is obviously, I guess, your overriding concern, are you able to campaign? Do you have access to the media? What are the issues that you're facing trying to mount a credible campaign?
Well, it is funny for President Museveni to say there's a level playing field for the opposition. First of all, I was arrested on the day of nomination, on the nomination ground. I was beaten, pepper sprayed, and driven straight to my home. I have been blocked from using the main roads by the police and the military. Just tonight, I was denied accommodation from 3 districts. And like I said, the only hotel that was willing to take me in is this hotel owned by my friend, the same hotel where my driver was murdered 2 years ago. I am not allowed to speak on radio stations. The military has literally taken over the campaign process. I am not allowed to access any town. And whenever I try to campaign, I am driven in very, very remote areas where there are no people. Thanks to the dynamics the way they are, because the people, especially young people, have had to walk miles and miles to access us. The only media that I can be allowed on is social media. That is the only media that we have that we can use to communicate to our people. As you mentioned, I have to put on a bulletproof for me to be able to campaign. I have survived 2 assassination attempts in the last 2 weeks, where bullets have been shot in my car, on the tires and in the windscreen. Tear gas canisters are thrown at us every time we are tear gas and brutalized and even shot with live bullets by the police and the military. That is the ground that President Museveni calls Lagos.
Bobi, let me ask you this because, you know, I just wonder whether you think the January election is going to be free and fair. And if not, what do you think the recourse is? You know, we've seen what happened in Belarus a few months ago. We saw the international community, the EU, you know, make some noises, but not a massive amount has happened there. We've got a new president and a new administration coming into the United States. They say they're going to put human rights back, certainly somewhere centrally in their foreign policy. What do you think the US, what are you calling on the United States to do? Because let's not forget, the president is a very close ally, has even visited the White House.
First of all, I know that already the election is not free and fair. We are only going into this election as a protest vote, because we know that the people of Uganda, even amidst intimidation, even amidst harassment, they will come out and massively vote. And yes, I am sure they are going to vote out President Museveni, because 35 years is just enough. My only plea to the United States and the entire development community, the entire international community, all the development partners, we have always been calling upon them to put the observation of human rights and the rule of law as a precondition for cooperation here in Uganda. We know that the United States has a very strong partnership in Uganda. We receive over $100 million a year to work with security. But again, this is the same money that is being used to murder people, to oppress Ugandans, and to abuse human rights. Just over 2 weeks ago, more than 100 Ugandans were shot and killed for showing support for me, for coming out to protest, and yet it is within the law to protest peacefully. We do not have any guns, we do not have any stones, but we are being attacked brutally by the police and the military that are armed to the teeth. People are being slaughtered every day by a president that takes pride in murdering people. Just the other week, President Museveni came out and confirmed that he indeed had ordered for the mass murder of people of Uganda. So we call upon the United States to put the rule of law and observation of human rights as a precondition to cooperation, and to also call to order President Museveni, who seems not to listen to any other voice apart from the international community and precisely the United States of America.
I'm just going to put their position before I head to another question. The government says that you were arrested and you've been, you know, well, I mean, I can say harassed. They'd say stopped because you're quote unquote breaking COVID rules by campaigning. But I want to ask you this. You call yourself, or you're known as the ghetto president. What is it that young Ugandans, the majority of the country, as we said, 80% of the country is under 35 years old, what are they yearning for there, beyond the obvious freedom? What do they want for Uganda?
Young Ugandans are yearning for freedom of speech, for freedom of expression. They are yearning for the basic human rights. They are yearning for the right to live. Young Ugandans are yearning for the opportunity to determine their destiny. It has been 35 years of stagnation. Young Ugandans feel like they are first world brains stuck in a third world country. And indeed, they believe that they don't live in a third world country. We only have third world leaders. Young Ugandans are yearning for democracy. They want to live their full potential. They feel like they are not living their lives. They feel like they are being enslaved in their own land. they want democracy in the real sense of the word.
It is, of course, extraordinary that 35 years ago, Museveni took part in the rebellion that brought down the dictator Idi Amin. And here we are 35 years later. Let me just ask you very quickly and finally, are you afraid for talking to us, for making this international interview now?
Well, yes and no. First of all, I am afraid because the majority of the people that have spoken out in Uganda have ended up dead or ended up in exile or in prison. So I expect the worst anytime. But again, I'm not feeling afraid because I know that the international media is one of the factors that have kept me alive. I know that no matter how ferocious a dictator President Museveni is, he is afraid of the international community. He knows how all the dictators have ended up in the past. He has been close friends with Mugabe. He has been close friends with Omar el-Bashir. He has been close friends with Muammar Gaddafi. And he knows how all dictators have ended. And what matters most is the fact that what is happening in Uganda is actually being projected on the world screens. So it is scary to talk to, but again, it is safe to talk to you at the same time.
You're being very brave, Bobi Wine, and invite the President on to put some of these issues to him. Thank you very much for joining us.